Good afternoon, everyone. So as was said, I'm Jeremy Springer. I'm the Senior Vice President in SITA responsible for border management. And I'm delighted that Andrew Hu from the Aruba Immigration Authority is joining me on stage. And Andrew and I are going to talk about what we believed was probably the first international air travel pilot for a DTC, which we did at the beginning of this year. So what we're going to do is sort of share some information related to the trial and also some of the lessons learned that we had as part of the implementation. Before I do that, though, I'd just like to, the clicker is working. I'd just like to introduce SITA. So I think probably most of you are aware who SITA is, but for those of you that aren't, SITA is the IT provider to both the aviation and the border management industry. In fact, we're owned by the aviation industry. We are, as you can see on the map, very global. We operate in over 120 countries around the world, and we have operations in over 1,000 airports. And I think that's really key as we start talking about how we really enable the use of digital travel credential technology on a really global scale. SITA believes that the future of travel is digital. And I'd like you to imagine a world where you can travel from anywhere to everywhere without any form of physical travel document. One where you can step across the border without the need to queue up at immigration. And one where every step in your journey, from dropping off your bag to checking into your hotel, for entry at a destination venue, is done in a really seamless way. And I think as an industry, we've been talking about seamless travel for a very long time. And in fact, I presented this exact slide a year ago at TRIP. And over the last year, as an industry, we've been doing a huge amount of work in the development of seamless travel. And obviously, a lot of work has gone in, as we've just heard from the previous speakers, around the digital travel credential. But it's also important to really focus on what does the traveler want. And SITA does a number of surveys on behalf of the industry each year, including a very important survey that we do on the passenger. And as you can see in the left-hand side of the chart, at every touch point in the passenger journey, passengers, travelers are now very much more comfortable around using a digital identity, biometrically enabled identity for travel, particularly if it's going to help and make their travel more seamless. We also do surveys around the rest of the industry. So we talk obviously to airlines who own SITA, and to airports. And by 2025, 75% of airlines are expecting to have a biometrically enabled digital identity for their travelers. And by 2025, over half of all airports around the world are looking to biometrically enable every touch point in the airport itself. So there's a lot of investment going into enabling this seamless journey. And as we were just discussing, the digital travel credential is a key part of that, particularly obviously for international travel. And I think you've heard a lot about the DTC, and you're, I'm sure, aware of the 3 types of DTC. We've been doing a lot of work with type 1, which clearly is available now, the self-derived DTC, where, as was very clearly shown in the last presentation, a traveler can scan their passport page, extract core information from there, including the MRZ, which enables us to unlock the chip in the passport. We can collect biographic data from data group 1 and facial biometric data from data group 2, and store that within a mobile device from the traveler. We can ask the traveler to take a selfie to confirm it is them, including a liveness check. and we can then create a digital travel credential, which is then authenticated against the ICAO PKD to ensure that it is an authentic and trusted travel credential. I guess importantly, though, and I think what was said right at the start, it's not just about the issuance of these documents. It's about how do we then use them? How do we use them on scale across the world, as per my map I put up earlier, and those 1,000 airports? How do we enable that use in a very secure way, one which is very privacy preserving for the traveler? So the traveler is in control of who they share that data with. One that is provides selective disclosure of that data. So different stakeholders require a different amount of information. So a government border agency clearly wants to receive all of the information in the DTC. But if I was using that DTC to really check my eligibility to buy something at duty-free, the duty-free provider only needs to know my age, or actually that I'm over a certain age. So selective disclosure is really key when it comes to digital identities. And finally, it's about trust. How can we ensure that all of the stakeholders that might need to verify that identity can trust that document, not just the government at the border? So what SITA's been working on over the last year is something called the Travel Trust Network. And this is a decentralized verifiable credential network, which enables really the whole industry to be able to use this technology. It enables governments, or indeed an airline, to issue a verifiable credential. Now that could be a DTC, so a digital travel credential. Equally, it could be the government's authority for you to come into the country. So an e-visa, an ETA, or a declaration. Or indeed, it could be a boarding pass issued by the airline in the form of a verifiable credential. So all of the paper documents you need to travel can be used in that way. And that's held by the traveler on their mobile device. So it's decentralized. That's not held in a central location. It's held by the traveler under their control in a very secure way. And then the traveler can then choose who to share that data with, that verifiable credential with, and it can be verified across that travel journey at every point, and it can be trusted in that way. And the way that is achieved is by using a distributed ledger to ensure that that credential that is issued is a trusted credential, and that's the cryptographic keys related to the credential are held on the ledger. So there's no personal information held on the ledger itself. All of the personal information is held by the traveler in their wallet. So this is very much an approach that we are looking to take for the industry, one that we believe can scale for the industry around the world at every touch point that the traveler needs to take, not just at the border. So this is very much what we worked on with the Government of Aruba. And I was going to skip over this slide. Apologies, in the interest of time. What I'd like to do is ask Andrew from the Aruba Immigration Authority to come up and join me. And maybe a question to you, Andrew. Maybe first of all, if you wanted to introduce Aruba and what you were looking to do, but what were Aruba really looking to achieve from this pilot? Andrew.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Jeremy. Yes, as Jeremy introduced me a while ago, I'm Andrew Ho from the Aruba Immigration. As far as a border authority, Aruba, right now we are experiencing, since the pandemic, a very high flow of travelers coming into Aruba. We're a very small island. However, as an immigration authority, we are trying to meet some high demands in the travel industry. So right now we have been working with SITA with a couple of projects currently this year, and we have noticed some positive effects. And one of those is that the e-gates and also some software and the DTC So what we have noticed that it has freed up our immigration officers to focus more on other risk factors and to dedicate on other tasks at hand. So having said that, it has had a positive effect on our immigration work and to focus on other risk factors at hand.
Good. Thank you, Andrew. So what we did, we're going to show a video in a minute around how the pilot worked, so you get a feel for what it was all about. But what we wanted to do was really create an experience for the traveller to ensure that they were very happy starting their vacation very early in their journey. And just looking at some of the lessons learned that we had from the project. So first of all, part of the immigration process into Aruba is the completion of a embarkation, de-embarkation card. So in effect, a declaration, an authority to come into the country. And we felt by enabling that as part of a DTC, we were able to speed up the completion of that ED card process by about 90%. So a significant improvement for the traveller coming into the country. What we're also able to achieve, because of the decentralized approach to the project, we're able to complete the integration with systems like their ED card in weeks rather than months. So it really sped up the process about how do we enable this seamless travel, the use of digital travel credentials at scale. We're able to really speed up the process. What we also found was clearly the data quality that was being received by immigration has significantly improved. The data was coming directly from the passenger's passport chip. And when compared with advanced passenger information, clearly there was a very strong data quality element to that. And finally, we were able to really successfully demonstrate the ability to share biometric information in advance of travel, which clearly a lot of governments would be very keen to have as part of their immigration process. Andrew, any final thoughts related to lessons learned?
Sure. One of the lessons learned, or a few of them, was it's actually a mindset. As an immigration officers, they were used to just working and so to speak, the cliche stamping passports. And now we have shifted from that process. It has increased their motivation to work, and it has opened up their minds into, okay, technology, and this is what we have to use right now. And we have created more specialized functions within the immigration department, whereas we can specifically go into the recognition of false documents and also other factors that influence the travelers. And having said that, also it gave us an opportunity to form a newly information desk where we gather intelligence and feed this through to other law enforcement agencies. So this has a positive influence on the immigration officers themselves. So, and another factor that was a big role was the influence of the unions. As a director of immigration, we had to, myself had numerous meetings with them in order to, what was the vision of the immigration and where we want to lead into. And this was in close collaboration with other entities and partners, and also the Aruban Tourism Authority, which they have been working very hard to attract different markets coming to Aruba right now. So towards the end of this year, we are looking into the Latin American market also, which is also increasing. And with that, we need to heighten and strengthen our border security. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Andrew. As I said, I'm just going to finish with a short video which describes what the pilot was about. So hopefully this. If you are interested in any more details related to it, or if you've got any questions, please come and find us on stand 15, and we can show you a demonstration of the solution. So thank you very much, and please join us for lunch.